Here's a look at the updated playoff picture 12 weeks in the NFL. The season ended today. Rams and Patriots. We have the first round byes in each conference. 3 NFC West teams would be in, and the reigning AFC champion Chiefs would be left out. All right, let's talk about playoff scenarios. We do know one team that's not going to make the postseason, John Breech, and that's the New York Football Giants. First time in earliest that they've been since '76. Earliest we've seen in the NFL since 2020. I mean, what do we make of New York being done a dozen weeks into the year?
Well, you make, Tommy, if you get eliminated before Thanksgiving, that's pretty depressing. I mean, we're talking about a situation where the 1-10 Titans are still mathematically alive, but the Giants are done. And it's really been that kind of year for them. We're talking about a team that fired their head coach. Their interim coach just fired his defensive coordinator. And you look at their season as a whole, they had 5 games on the road where they held a double-digit lead. We're looking at right here, the most blown leads on the road, double digits in NFL history. Then you're looking at a team that scored 20 or more points in 6 straight games and lost all of them. It was just, they came up with new ways to lose every week. And I think that is probably the most depressing thing if you're a Giants fan, is that this team was absolutely competitive this year. They just couldn't get over the hump and win these close games or hold these leads. So that has to be frustrating. But if you are New York, you have Jackson Dart, you feel good maybe about a new head coach coming in, a rebuild process, and you build around your new franchise quarterback. Malik Neighbors coming back next season. And so they should be competitive, but now you have to sit and read about the NFL draft for the next 6 weeks because there's nothing to play for now.
Okay, so NYG is done. So if we talk about dark horses to make the postseason, so again, teams currently on the outside looking in, you got a team for me?
Let's go with the Houston Texans, Tommy. I don't just think the Texans are a dark horse to be a wild card team. I think they are a dark horse to actually win the AFC South. You look at this team, they started 0-3. Over the past 25 years, we have only seen one team rebound from an 0-3 start to make the playoffs. That is the 2018 Texans. They are about to do it again. You look at their schedule, and that is the reason why they could possibly rebound. We saw them absolutely destroy the Buffalo Bills in Week 12. They still face the Colts twice over their final 6 games here. They play them this Sunday, and then they close the season with Indy. If you sweep those games, now you are absolutely a threat to win the division. And obviously, there's that big showdown with the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 14. If you win that, now you have the head-to-head tiebreaker over Kansas City. If you end up in that spot in the wild card, you have a couple winnable games against the Cardinals, against the Raiders. And then obviously you have Jacksonville lingering there too, but with the way the Texans are playing, they have the best defense in the NFL. CJ Stroud likely coming back this week. This team is trending upward, and I won't be surprised if they're in the postseason.
Okay, you said even division, which would be a 7-1 payout on FanDuel. How about a couple of locks? There's not going to be any type of meltdowns down the stretch.
Yeah, let's start in the AFC, Tommy. My 2 locks, I only have 2 right now. The New England Patriots, the Denver Broncos. It feels kind of obvious here, but you look at what New England has done. They are 10-2. If they were to go just win 1 game over the rest of the season, they still get to 11-6. That's probably getting them into the playoffs. So even if they absolutely collapse, the New England Patriots are making the playoffs. You look at the Denver Broncos. They have some winnable games over the next 2 weeks against the Commanders, against the Raiders. So they feel safe at 9-2. I think we can go ahead and put a check mark next to Denver's name. And then you also see the Bills here in the AFC East. They are not a lock for me just yet. We saw them struggle against the Texans. I need to see maybe another win or 2 before I'm ready to pin them in for the postseason. And then my locks in the NFC. I've got 4 of them. 3 of them are from the NFC West. I think the Rams are a lock. The Seahawks are a lock. The 49ers are a lock. All 3 of those teams have at least 8 wins. And so that means you just win 2 more. That gets you up to 10, and you feel pretty good about your playoff chances once you hit the 10-win mark. And then obviously the Philadelphia Eagles sitting there at 8-3 as the number 2 seed in the NFC. They feel like an absolute lock to me. They still have several winnable games. They play the Raiders. They get to play the Commanders twice. So I do think Philly is a lock for the postseason. That is 6 spots. That means 8 are up for grabs, Tommy.
Okay, so, yep, you've got those 6 locks, 8 up for grabs. If we go back to the AFC playoff picture, because we're asking you sort of like which wildcard team is sort of thanking the scheduling gods that their path the rest of the way should be okay. And there is one team currently holding one of those wildcard spots. Breech, which one is that for you?
Yeah, if I had to bet on one of those 3 teams in there right now, Chargers, Jags, Bills, to absolutely get in, I think it is Jacksonville, because they do have the easiest path. The scheduling gods were very friendly to them when you look at the stretch run for Jacksonville. You get to see they play the Tennessee Titans this week. They end the season against the Tennessee Titans. So that means they get to play Tennessee twice in their final 6 games. They still get to play the New York Jets. So if you're Jacksonville and you win just those 3 games, the 2 against Tennessee, the 1 against the Jets, that gets you to 10 wins. And then if you can steal a win against the Colts, or maybe even beat the Broncos, now you're 11, and I think 11 absolutely gets you in. And let's not forget, Jacksonville could still win this division. They're only 1 game behind the Colts. They play them twice. If they can split with Indy or even sweep Indy, they could certainly end up as the AFC South champion. So I love Jacksonville's chances to get in the playoffs in Liam Cohen's first year as the head coach.
You and I did something with like tie-breaking scenarios earlier this week. Do we have one in the AFC wild card in terms of the tie-breaking scenarios with teams currently holding it and those in the hunt?
We absolutely do. Let's look at the wild card in the AFC. The top 3 slots are held right now by the Chargers, by the Jags, and by the Bills. The Bills are in that 7th spot. Now, the Chargers are actually ahead of Jacksonville, which is a little bit confusing because Jacksonville has a head-to-head win over Los Angeles. They absolutely destroyed the Chargers 35-6 a couple weeks ago, but they are behind them right there, all because of the Bills, because all 3 teams are tied at 7-4. You throw out that head-to-head tiebreaker, which is the first one, and you move to a conference record tiebreaker. And when you go there, the Chargers have the best conference record between the Chargers, Jacksonville, Buffalo, then the Jags, then the Bills. So that is why Jacksonville's behind Los Angeles, even though they beat them a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we're looking at the Chiefs at 6-5 on the outside looking in. It is de facto maybe playoff game Thanksgiving on CBS with KC and Dallas. What about the Cowboys' outlook, Breech?
Look, the Cowboys' playoff chances were on life support a couple weeks ago, but I kind of like them right now, especially when you look at what this team has done since Quinnen Williams arrived at the trade deadline. The defense has been totally transformed for the better. They dominated the Raiders on Monday night, came back from a 21-0 deficit to pull off that huge win over the Eagles. And so now they're sitting at 5-5-1. And when you look at their final 6 games, it feels like they're going to need to go at least 5-1 if they want to make the playoffs. Now, 2 weeks ago, if you would ask me, could they go 5-1 with that stretch of games to end the season, I would have said probably not. But this defense is playing so much better that I absolutely think it's possible. This team could beat the Chiefs on Thanksgiving on CBS. They turn around and play the Lions the following Thursday. That feels like a winnable game. And then they might be favored in their final 4 games of the season. And considering they do have a little bit of margin of error because they can lose a game and probably still make it, I could see the Cowboys absolutely going 5-1. I know the percentages aren't in their favor, but you know what? I'll just say the Cowboys are a dark horse. Both teams in Texas, those are my dark horse teams to get to the playoffs.
Love that. Late ad from Breech, and boy, the rating should be through the roof here. And I'm just saying that because we have it on our air, KC and Dallas. John Breech joining us on HQ. Again, 5-5-1 Dallas, hosting 6-5 Kansas City on Thanksgiving. Our sports line Inside the Lines team says the Chiefs have a 74% playoff chance with a win, 46% with a loss. Cowboys 21% playoff chance with a victory, just 6% with a defeat. Tonight we'll get another CFP rankings release, and we'll see how the 12 teams will shake out after Week 13. Bringing our guy Brad Crawford in to give us his thoughts.